marking.
Hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Can get you out of my hand again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow. I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Can get you out of my head, get you out of my head
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Pulls a coin and I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming, I'm sick of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Now that I need you anyway. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat of down, I cross the lines just to tell you. Don't lead the way, don't even say that I drown with a drop in the rain. I feel like I'm fading.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake it to the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode here today. This is episode 3 of my headphones went all wrong. That's why it went all funny for me. We are here today. Yes, we normally have the co-hosts with me, Astrid and Brett, but Brett is currently at the live tapings of TNA, and Astrid is feeling unwell. So she has drafted in a horrible replacement. I mean, the best replacement we could ask for. But ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Let's be clear here. I am the permanent replacement host. for making an impact. No matter what network it's on, whether it's on Astrid's network with Cody, whether it's here on our local establishment, I am the permanent replacement host for making
So we now have 4, because if anyone else don't turn up, Ed will turn up. And we were here today, but we got a lot to discuss. It was the first time in 8 years that TNA have done a live show. And the last time they did it 8 years ago, Moose debuted in TNA and has never left since, unfortunately. But he is still there. And a lot has happened in the news. We're going to be discussing the comments from PCO after the GCW event that happened. We spoke about it briefly on the post show for Genesis, just briefly with Brett. But we're going to dive into a little bit more into that to kick things off. We're then going to talk about the Wrestling Observer that has come out and said that AEW is pissed off at TNA and WWE. So we're going to talk about that as well. And also as well, we're going to be having a conversation exactly what's been going on in the live show of TNA and what's coming up next week. But firstly, Ed, before we get into anything and before we get to PCO and do all of this, what were your thoughts? Because I know you're not, you may be a regular TNA watcher, you may not be, or on and off. What were your overall thoughts, without giving any spoilers or anything like that, for TNA's first real live show in 8 years?
It felt like a TNA live show. TNA doesn't always have the greatest shows, but they have talent who work hard and do the things they need to do to entertain the fans. I am not the biggest TNA fan, but I've been around for everything. I've been around the Asylum days. I was here for the weekly pay-per-view days where I would buy 1 in 4 weekly pay-per-views for $10 to watch 2 hours of TNA way back in the day. When they were still NWA affiliated. And then I was here for the AJ Styles, the Sting, the Hogan era, all of that. So like I've always been around TNA in some form or fashion, and I love and appreciate TNA. I always say it's the little engine that will never die. Instead of being a little engine that could, it's a little engine that will never die. No matter how many times this promotion's on its deathbed, on a pay-per-view weekend when they don't have enough money to literally pay for the arena, Billy Pumpkins will come through and make a one-day payday to make sure that they can open the doors and get the fans in. This promotion is fantastic, and it's necessary. And it's necessary for talent to be able to work. This partnership with WWE is going to be great for both WWE and for the TNA audience. It's a great thing.
Absolutely. We've got a couple of comments here from our local establishment. I guess there's Bobby in the background watching this. Absolutely. Ed's a trooper spending your Friday remark. Thank you for that. By the way, just a little spoiler as well. Not a spoiler, a little heads up. Tomorrow, Saturday night main event. I could potentially be going live on my own unless Ed is available. If he's not, then he's not available. I will be going live on my own potentially at this moment to review Saturday night, a main event. So make sure you stick around as well. They've got lots of other things. The calendar come up earlier. If you haven't seen it, please rewind to that. You see all of the amazing, talented stuff that a lot of people are doing this week. I will be back next week as well, doing this on Friday. I will be with Andre before Royal Rumble. We're going to be doing a pre-show of the Royal Rumble, me and Andre. We're going to run down the card and give our predictions on it, and then I may be back for the post show, depending on how many people turn up. If there's quite a lot, I will just watch in the background. If there's not, I will be there. But I need to do something WWE, because as you know, I am the WWE king on this channel. And also, I've got to do Saturday night main event. Jey Uso versus Gunther is going to make me yeet all over myself. And not only that, Jacob Fatu, who is now called the Tribal Wolf, is now going to be facing Braun Strowman, and that's going to be absolutely amazing. We've got Astrid in the chat as well saying hey, and then she's also put Billy Pumpkins. Oh my, you guess it's Bobby. Yes, I think you're the only one with a login for the
No, we all have it. I have it too.
Okay,
It's not me.
I'm the only one who doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go into this. Probably the best thing. Let's get into the first topic of the day, and that is PCO. He was at a GCW event when he apparently told the promotion that he was going to start an angle with the Digital Media Championship, and he wanted a promo time to do it. And then what he did was he put a chair in the middle of the ring, because I'm watching it as we talk, put the title on it, got a sledgehammer and started smashing it with the sledgehammer, which then the people then started to get into the ring and started to stop, and the broadcast went blacked out and went for a break. We discussed that part, but it has come out. He has also said since then, eventually you will understand. I am a fan, because this was talking about the Hardys were on, the match was on at the same time. I am a fan of the Hardys, and the roster is awesome. The production team and creative team of TNA is just so good. The new management, Scott D'Amore was the architect. You need to get your evidence before judging. And then he also put, it's crazy how important Scott was in hindsight. He really held it together. A few months out of TNA, and they've reduced to licking WWE's boots to stay afloat. And then he's then tweeted below that going, now you're talking. He has also said later on that he doesn't have a problem with WWE. I think he has a problem with the current ownership of TNA, of what they're doing, Anthem, and he's also saying that if Scott D'Amore was here, I think I saw somewhere as well, if Scott D'Amore was here, this partnership may not have ever happened. Ed, before we get into anything any further, I know you've got a bit of a coughing fit. Are you okay? You all right?
Yeah.
I just want to get your thoughts on what PCO did, and also your thoughts on him sort of going into business for himself.
I mean, this is typical old school wrestler 101. I have an issue with a promotion. I can't do what I want to do. I'm going to, throw a tantrum in the middle of the ring. He's unhappy with the contract offers he was given. This man's been around since I was a child. I turned 41 in 8 hours, and this man was around when I was a child. Like, the best and most important thing I think he's ever done in the world of professional wrestling, in my mind, is he stole Bret Hart's leather jacket. Like, it's PCO. Like, this is, Pierre Ouellette. Like, this is kind of a madman. He does his own thing. He beats to his own drum. He's French Canadian wrestling royalty. It is what it is. He did the things. I thought it was funny. I watched him attempt to take a sledgehammer to a championship that TNA claims is a replica. He claims was the real thing. So that's always fun. We'll see the direction of that championship in a bit. But I mean, whatever. Like, yeah. Scott D'Amore, like, saying that the WWE partnership wouldn't be, in place if not for or because of Scott D'Amore. Like, Scott D'Amore got the ball rolling on this years ago with Mickie James. Scott D'Amore continued the ball rolling with Jordan Grace. Like, no matter what happened, this partnership is almost entirely because of Scott D'Amore, because I think people in WWE believe in Scott D'Amore so much. I don't think that this has anything to do with the new management of TNA. I just think that they're more willing to take the opportunity to take the paycheck that the WWE is willing to give in order to allow them to do this partnership. Because I think Scott D'Amore, in my mind, I look at what happened between the partnership with AEW and TNA when Scott D'Amore was there and goes, Scott D'Amore might be a little hesitant to let a big promotion come in here and do a partnership. And I think WWE's done a much better job of taking and elevating TNA talent. And now we're seeing on this end, now that we have an official named partnership, WWE is now sending star power as opposed to just sending talent and money.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think the one of the things that I did find, it was just, if you go onto his Twitter or X, however you want to call it now, and you go onto his feed, the man's on social media 24 hours. He's tweeting everything, even if they're not atting him, or if he's going through his name, and he's sort of retweeting and liking things from people that are not even mentioning him, which is odd. And we're going to get to the Digital Media Championship a little bit later on with that, because that was fun. We'll get into that, but we're going to get into the next topic. This is the TNA and WWE, according to Wrestling Observer Radio. Now, what I want to do is the people that are watching in the comments, I want you to hear the quotes that I'm saying, and I want you to say in the comments down below where you think the comments have come from. Okay, bear that in mind. So it is reportedly believed by close to the situation that WWE will end up owning TNA while blocking AEW from international TV deals. There is a lot of stuff, and this is a quote, there is a lot of stuff that's going to be a part of this deal, but the key stuff is that they want to get TNA on television outlets that WWE is leaving. I'm sure India being the big one, so AEW doesn't get those television outlets that they're leaving. Because of all their shows are on Netflix internationally, they can put anything on those stations. So they want to make sure it's not AEW on those stations. So that one of the many reasons that they're doing this TNA partnership. I know people who are close to the situation think they will end up with WWE owning TNA. Others think that it's going to be a disaster because it always is, and always is at the end. Every company WWE works and always will end up worse. Now, I'm not going to say who I think the quotes come from. I'm going to wait for chat to say it. We haven't got your view on it from this because we haven't had you on TNA before. We spoke about it before recently on the Genesis and the first show that we did. What are your thoughts on this WWE teaming up with the little boys that could in TNA?
It's a good idea. I think it's good exposure for TNA to get brought to the WWE universe. I think that there are, speaking on behalf of the TNA side, because right now I'm speaking, on a TNA programming, so we'll start with the TNA side. There are pitfalls to this partnership that Meltzer is mentioning there. WWE does not have a good track record of working with other companies and then not trying to own them. Look at the thing. You can speak personally to the British wrestling scene that is finally rebirthing itself after the debacle that was NXT UK and WWE's, for lack of a better term, destruction of the Brit wrestling scene.
The thing that they tried to do was they wanted to bring everyone in that was in Europe, bring everyone together, which they did. But then what they did with those contracts was not let them really go anywhere else. So then they just hindered everything else. And I think, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, but with that, and I think they've done the right thing now with this TNA deal. It's going between. There's no, you're strict. Anyway, carry on.
No. Like I said, I wanted you to kind of pipe in there with because Brit wrestling scene, that's the biggest, most recent thing we can see of this is what WWE tried to do. It's why NXT Japan never got off the ground, because the Japanese wrestling companies saw what happened in the UK and refused to make those deals. Because remember, WWE had ownership stakes in, I believe it was a small ownership stake in Progress to put it on the network. They had a small ownership stake with, I believe, OTT. Oh no, it was ICW.
Yeah, it was. So the network had Progress, ICW, and there was the German one as well. The one
WXW.
Yeah, that's the one. Those are the, and there was one in Ireland. OTT was the one from Ireland. He was called John Devlin at the time. Now JD McDonough. That was him and Finn Balor's thing that they were doing.
Yeah, and WWE kind of ruined a lot of that. Like I said, they're just now starting to come out of that. Progress is just now starting to finally get back on their feet. OTT is still working with WWE, but they're doing their thing.
Yeah.
But it took the Brit Wrest scene a long time to get back. Now, obviously, there were other things that we're not going to talk about that ruined the Brit wrestling scene, as well as WWE coming through. But they're starting to get back on their feet. TNA won't have that same problem. To an extent, WWE is likely going to raid their talent pool when and if they see fit. Jordan Grace is set to debut on WWE as a WWE contractual talent any day now. We're expecting to see Josh Alexander. I would expect to see Josh Alexander sign with WWE any day now, especially if he's still potentially leaving the door open to work matches in TNA. We'll talk more about that in a bit. So I think that an NXT deal with him would work very well, and I think that would be a smart idea for both sides. And of course, there's the Joe Hendry of it all. Joe Hendry is currently their world champion, but I think everybody and their mother knows that he wants to work with WWE. He wants to be part of the biggest company in the world. He might want to see the man that can't be seen. I mean, he's mentioned every opportunity he's gotten, including, we'll talk more about that in a bit. But yeah, so I think like when you're looking at it, those three names are already linked to WWE. And this partnership is less than a year old, and WWE's already pretty much got their fingers in two of them. And Josh Alexander's a maybe he will, maybe he won't kind of thing. But like I said, we're starting to see the way that this pays off for the rest for TNA. The influx in money, you can tell. They have money that they can offer talent to be able to go ahead and sign new talent. They are selling out their shows because of the fact of the spike in viewership from WWE fans who haven't watched TNA in a while coming back to watch TNA. The idea of potentially seeing people from NXT and WWE in TNA is bringing it up. On this show alone, we're going to talk about multiple WWE talents being on this show. Some were expected, some were not. So far, there's no bad things, with the exception of, from TNA's point of view, if you allow WWE to work with you, understand that your talent is going to work for them in the near future if your talent wants to.
Yeah, it's very much of, if you want to take the risk of, and I think this also gives an incentive to TNA stars, because they will now go, there's a WWE type. How you doing? I hope you stick around, Norris, as well, and have a chat about what your thoughts on things as well. But nice seeing you. I think you were here before, if I'm right, for one of the premium live events that or pay-per-views, whatever I call them, premium live events now. But the pay-per-views that we've done before, I think you popped up in one of those, and we had a conversation with one of the reviews we did on that as well. But yeah, I also think that let's get into the show. We started things off with the newly crowned TNA World Heavyweight Champion, or Mr. Joe Hendry, coming down to the ring, cutting a promo with the crowd chanting, "You deserve it." Absolutely, it's been a well too long of a time of coming. Perfect. I thought I remembered your name from it before. And then Santino Marella comes out and says that he's got a challenger. And who would have thought that the recent partnership with WWE, he's come back to sign a deal with TNA.
Well, he hasn't signed a deal.
Is he still doing the match thing where he just turns up anywhere, anytime?
I think that's all he's ever going to do until he gets what he wants, which, if you listen to his most recent interview with Chris Van Vliet, which you should listen to, it's a fantastic interview. He's still very open to signing a deal with WWE and working with WWE again, especially now with people like Triple H in charge and people like Vince McMahon who weren't the greatest to him, like when they fired him and then asked to use his pool for a vignette.
Not the greatest idea to do that from that, but he has come out. He is going to be challenging Joe Hendry for the championship. And then we cut to backstage where we see Eric Young and Steve Macklin having a discussion about why Eric Young wants to help. Macklin wants to do nothing with Josh Alexander after what he did to him before. And Eric Young just says that he can see something in him and he wants to try and change that. That was an interesting segment, shall we say, from that. What are your thoughts on EY being back in TNA now? He's been there for a little while after going to WWE and then leaving WWE after the dementia era decided that he wanted to make full control again, and then just walked out the door. I don't know whether you've seen any of the storyline before, but what are your thoughts on Eric Young trying to change Josh Alexander before he potentially could walk out the door?
I mean, I'm a big fan of EY. I've always thought EY's great, but EY's at that point where it's like they don't do anything. Like he gets pushes and then he kind of just does stuff. And like it's great to see him taking an interest in a younger talent, but he's taking an interest in Josh Alexander, who's a main event talent. He doesn't need a mentor. He doesn't need somebody to help lead him around. Like he's main event Josh Alexander for a reason. Like he was the backbone of TNA, as he was saying with Santana.
Yeah.
With Santana, he was like, look, you're the figurehead, you're the standard bearer now.
Yeah.
Because Alexander's going away. And that's fine. Like bigger and better things are in his future and he needs to do it. But
yeah, it is very much so. I have found since I started rewatching TNA now and now doing this as well. Interesting.
That's a possibility.
That is a possibility. I didn't really think of that. That is.
I was thinking Macklin, but I could see doing it too.
That's who I was thinking of, but that's an interesting take. We'll keep an eye out for that. But EY for me, he's a standard bearer of TNA. Always has, always will be. When he just used to lose every single time, and then
do you remember the fact that that part of your storyline in the TNA Impact video game?
Yeah,
was being a tag team.
Oh my God! Yeah. Jesus,
scared Eric Young.
That game that was a 6-sided ring game, wasn't it? It was the best wrestling game.
Oh no!
It was the funnest because it was so crazy. It was so crazy.
That story mode is something to behold. Let me tell you.
I need to find a way if I can play that again because that was epic. Then we go into the next match, which has now their team has been renamed on this channel by Brett, as he's now called them Botox by Elegance, where they teamed up with Rosemary and they went up against Spitfire and Masha Slamovich. Weird team up. I found this absolutely hilarious because at one point Rosemary, because she hasn't been in a tag team for so long, decided that she wanted to fight her own team because she didn't realize that they were trying to help her. And Botox by Elegance come out in some sort of cowgirl farmer outfit. Is that the right word to say?
It was Calpert.
There we go. We'll go with that. Your thoughts on Botox by Elegance and this match? We'll get to the surprise because we knew it was coming. Surprise at the end of the match with an NXT star turning up. But your thoughts on because you may have seen, but your thoughts on seeing Ash by Elegance?
We don't wish ill on anybody. We don't wish ill on anybody. We don't wish that people lose their jobs because that's bad. But I was so happy when Dana Brooke got let go. And I didn't have to talk about Dana Brooke no more. And we didn't cover Impact. So when she went to Impact, it was even better because I didn't have to worry about covering Impact. And then people brought making an Impact back. Now I'm talking about fucking Dana Brooke again.
What I will say,
let's start with Heather Reckless. She's great.
Yeah,
I love her.
Absolutely. Brilliant wrestler.
The other 5 in this match, other than Dana Brooke, because I can't call her Ash by Elegance. But the others are fantastic. I think that the concierge is a bum gimmick, but it works for the whole thing that they're trying to do. It feels very Alberto Del Rio. It feels like Ricardo Rodriguez just redone. Like it's like, well, we need a special ring announcer for our talent, so we're going to get the personal concierge. Played
Hold on.
Scott Moore for
Hold
that.
on. This is the one that I wanted. Exactly.
Oh no. She will never show up in NXT. I pray to God. Pray to God that we don't have to see Ash by Elegance. We saw her once. That was more than enough. I wish they would have signed Camille too, but Camille wanted to go somewhere big and important, and unfortunately, that was not TNA.
But the thing with Dana Brooke is, and I'm not a Dana Brooke fan. I can't stand her, all of it. But what I will say is, she is great at generating heat, and she is great at you want the other wrestlers to punch her in the face, and when they do, it's a beautiful thing. She is great at generating heat. I will give her that, and she's great at the hello STG. Also, I've got a bone to pick with STG as well. I watched NXT, the Taking Over show, after I did my lovely birthday message to yourself. I then saw, I wasn't expecting to see Mark. I thought I'd have a night off comment from STG. STG, I'm going to be here tomorrow and Sunday. Get over it. But I still love you anyway. But yeah, no, she's good at that. Heather needs more time in the ring. And I want to see her more in the ring. Spitfire, I love anyway, because one of them's an Englishman, and she was born where I was raised, where she was raised.
Jody Threader, is that Danny Luna?
Danny, the not the redhead, the other one. I think it's Danny Luna. Yeah. She was raised or born where I was raised until the age of 5. So I know the area where, and I can see why she's a wrestler from that. But yeah, no, I thought it was a good match. And then Cora Jade from NXT turned up, and she did a reverse Masha Slamovich, doing the picture with the cross on it, with Cora Jade still not talking and still not, excuse the pun, making much of an impact.
She made an impact. She made an impact because Masha's team lost.
Yeah, but I think I want to see her and Masha get physical.
They will when they figure out which promotion they're going to have this match in.
They still haven't worked this out.
I don't know if they know which promotion this match is going to happen in yet. Is this going to be a TNA Knockouts Championship match at Vengeance Day?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this going to be a TNA Knockouts Championship match at Insert and TNA
Full Sail University match? I think that'll probably be the next time they might do it. Will be the
live show at Full Sail?
Yeah, I think the next big one is the Full Sail. I'm going to have a look because I don't think they have a pay-per-view coming up for a little while.
February 28th, Astrid's trying to go.
Yeah, for that one. But no, I don't. But then they've also got Bailey, and they got that storyline going as well at the moment with Bailey and all of them. What's going on for there? So who knows?
I mean, poor Masha. Poor Masha has to deal with Cora Jade. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But you know what? Anything's better than Tessa.
We'll get into that.
We shall.
We'll get into that. I have a few thoughts on that. Could be quite controversial. So that could be fun. Then we cut to Josh Alexander coming out to address the TNA audience. The fans constantly booing Josh Alexander, explaining that he is completely done and he wants to be remembered going out the door as someone that had done good inside of TNA. He doesn't want what he's done over the last few months to impact, pun intended, what he's been doing over the last times, which then let Northern Armory say that he can't leave. They attacked him, and EY comes out to save it, to then set up for, we'll talk about that insert a little bit later on. But your thoughts on the Josh Alexander promo, and where do you think his likely destination? I know you said earlier you think NXT. I don't think he should be in NXT. I think he's well past NXT and he should be going Raw or SmackDown, in my opinion, just because of his wrestling ability and what he can do on the microphone. He is well past NXT. You can't put him in NXT and then expect him to lose against Obafemi.
I think NXT is a different. No, because I think that there's a story to tell in NXT, especially if you pair him with Ethan Page. If you bring back the North, if you bring the North back together, you can have that heel tag team run that tag team division.
Right, you're going to have to explain to me who the North is.
The North is the tag team that was made up of Ethan Page and Josh Alexander in TNA. They're the former TNA tag team champions. So you bring that team back together, and it gives him and Ethan something to do. More importantly, it gives us Ethan Page and Josh Alexander versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom.
Mm-hmm.
Probably I would do it Stand and Deliver. I would in April at Stand and Deliver. And then you send Nathan Frazier and Axiom off to do their own thing. And this gives you something to do with Josh Alexander and Ethan Page for a little bit. Get the WWE audience used to Josh Alexander, and then send him to Raw or SmackDown. Because remember, we've still got an overloaded division on both Raw and SmackDown with male talent, as it is. We don't have room for these guys in the IC title picture. We don't have room for these guys in the main event picture on Raw or SmackDown. We don't have room for these guys on the U.S. title scene over on SmackDown. I think that bringing them together as a tag team and then letting them kind of, go their separate ways, have a good feud, and then work with Obafemi, I think, because Oba's going to need to work with guys like Alexander and guys like Page before he goes up to the main roster, because he's still raw and he still needs a little bit of seasoning. And Norris is right here too. That we've said it a couple times on Taking Over. That top end male division in NXT is a bit lacking.
I think
they have people they can put there, but they don't have big name stars that they can put there. Josh Alexander is a star that you could put in that division.
Yeah, I agree. Which now sets up a tag team match next week on TNA, where it will be Eric Young and Josh Alexander versus Northern Armory. In potentially the last time we could ever see Josh Alexander inside of a TNA arena. Potentially, I'm not sure the date of his last contracted match is meant to be. It's February time, beginning of February.
I was going to say somewhere in February. I would expect the last time we see Josh. I think that this is his it. I think him and EY lose this match. In my head, it's Macklin that does it again. But going back, it could be EY. EY turns on Josh and takes over the Northern Armory from Josh and goes back to running it. I don't know if EY is supposed to be babyface or heel at this point.
Babyface.
Okay. So then it's unlikely that would happen, which is why it leads me to Macklin, because Macklin's heel through and through. I don't think Macklin can be a good guy. Hello, Darman.
But yes, so potential last match we will ever see Josh Alexander inside of a TNA ring. So make sure you go and check that out. Next up, we had the Hardys versus Fandango and Moose. I refuse to call him by his new name, by the way, on this channel.
JDC?
No, I refuse to say that. It will now forever on this channel be Fandango because it's more fun to say. And Moose. I'm not going to lie. Couldn't give a shit about this match. And the only thing that was
I mean, Moose is here. I mean, it's
true. Very, very true.
I love TNA. I've always loved TNA. TNA is that guilty pleasure wrestling that I watch when I don't like to talk about. But no, like I said earlier, you missed it earlier when I was talking about it. I've watched TNA since the Asylum days. I've watched TNA since the weekly pay-per-view days, where they had midgets bringing guns to the ring, where they had all kinds of crazy shenanigans. Jeff Jarrett was a world champion. R-Truth was the world champion. Ken Shamrock was the world champion. Like, those early TNA days are wild, man.
I still remember the storyline with Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle about the wife. That still haunts me to the day, even though it was real.
Story.
Yeah, it was so real, and I was like, oh my god, it's actually they hate each other, mental. But what are your thoughts on let's on this matchup quite quickly, please? Hardy's Moose.
I could deal with all four of these guys not wrestling anymore. I'm not a Hardy's guy. Like, so here's the thing. Everybody's like, I want the Hardys back in WWE. I don't. The Hardys are great. The Hardys have been great for years. But I want Jeff to live. And every time Jeff gets in a ring, I worry that Jeff won't live anymore.
Yeah, this comment here is right.
Yeah, Norris is right. The thing that stood out was that Jeff pinned Moose. Yeah. I could see that as an X Division championship match. I could see Jeff Hardy winning the X Division title.
No.
Anybody but Moose at this point. Like,
yeah,
Jeff Hardy's not on that list, but anybody but Moose.
Yeah.
I didn't know that the System were now doing an American gimmick.
Oh, because they run the place. They did this thing. It was Bound for Glory. It was Bound for Glory or whatever it was.
Why do they have the little rings that say like the System on it? Like they have like little class rings. It's so dumb.
Because I think they want to be like their own Hall of Fame. Oh, fuck knows. It's a load of crap. And then we're going to get into the next segment because I couldn't give a shit about that match. Jeff Hardy won. He won when he went to Montreal. Yeah,
when TNA went to Montreal, that was fun.
Yeah. We now know who 23 is. How do I describe this?
We know the name of who 23 is. It doesn't necessarily mean that, people know who it is. But
no. So the best part of this. So 20th, Sami Callihan, every time he stepped out into the ring, which for some reason they're still allowing and doing in TNA, they then play the number 23 vignette. And it was the 23rd of January when this happened. And he called out the person for it. And the
no. We're not just going to say that they did it. So they play the vignette.
Yeah.
And then they go to commercial.
Yes.
And the best part is they go to commercial and like you see like the Hardys at the top of the ramp celebrating with like no audio. And then there's a whole 2-minute break. And then they do the black. It's like, because this is my first time watching it on TNA Plus.
Yeah.
I used to watch it on YouTube when I used to do this with Astrid. I'd buy the YouTube channel for $1 so that I can watch the weekly shows. So then they come back and we get Sami Callihan. And I'm like, ooh, the Overlord's going to be happy. The Ogre Lord. The Ogre Lord's favorite wrestler, Sami fucking Callihan, is here.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then the video package then played again. And then Steph DeLander come out saying that it's all about her. She was holding the Digital Immediate Championship, saying that she got that championship through the divorce, which, by the way, made me laugh more than what it probably should have. But I popped quite hard for that. I thought
it's
that was
a nice,
hilarious.
convenient way to get out of this whole PCO situation, isn't it?
Yeah. I looked at that and I went, if you're going to find a way of taking the Digital Media Championship away from PCO in the way that, I knew we would boo. It is literally, Dara, you are correct. It's the most crazy title change I've ever seen in my entire existence of a human being. But
I've seen crazier, but we'll leave that for now.
Yeah, we'll leave that for that. And then the 23 played again. And then some long-legged, skinny bloke then attacked Sami Callihan, who, by the way, I still don't know. I've got the name here. Mance Warner.
Yeah.
Okay. Who?
Southern Psychopath. He's a former MLW talent. He's actually really impressive in the ring. I thoroughly enjoy his work in MLW. Yeah, he's just a little bit of a nut job. So
also,
remember,
before we get into that, Can we just point out that Steph DeLander said, "I want you to meet my new boyfriend," right?
Yeah.
She's been passed more around than an OnlyFans model because it's getting
She
a
is
bit
an
crazy.
OnlyFans model.
Yes, I mean the other side of OnlyFans, that side of OnlyFans model. It's getting a bit. How many does she need? It's one every week.
It's fine. So to go back and forth, because this isn't the first time that there's been that old Manser has gotten an opportunity on television. Do you remember years ago on AEW when old people were making fun of AEW for just debuting somebody and having no idea who it was, and then wanting us to treat it like a big deal with John Moxley?
Yes.
That was Mance Warner.
Right.
Yeah. This is the same guy that AEW was like, oh, by the way, Mance Warner for the World Championship against John Moxley on Rampage.
Right. So, okay. So now, he's left AEW, obviously. And
he
now...
never signed. He did 2 matches. He did a match with Serpentico and then did the John Moxley match and never worked with them again.
Also, am I right? Going to win the 24-hour pregnant and Steph Danica going to win the choke? Yeah, no. I'm not saying that's reasonable. What's weird is how many men she's going through. They ran this exact same was with Steph Danica. Okay.
They did this, I was gonna say they did this. I thought that was the case. They did this in the opposite way, and then it all rolled over into GCW. Mance is great. Like the Overlord says. He can be good when he isn't doing the goofy deathmatch crap.
Right, okay. But it's Sami Callihan. They're going to do that. They're going to do a deathmatch, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're going to do it, and I don't want it. I got creeped out by the Clockwork Orange match that they did at Genesis between Masha Slamovich and Rosemary, and she used a staple coming in the armpit, and I was like, I'm done. I don't want to see anymore now. This is disgusting. So
but that's Masha. But that's Masha and Rosemary. That's special.
Yeah. So yeah. Yes, they will, and it will be in the most painful time. Oh, for fuck's sake! Thanks, Bobby, for preempting.
Yeah.
Right.
So Mance Warner is good. Like this is good for TNA. He is a younger talent who has room to improve, who needs the spotlight of a big American promotion. I think there's a lot of fun that can happen here. And again, he's one of the guys that I think could be fun in a crossover portion with NXT. I think there's some fun potential crossover promotion with somebody like Mance Warner with like a Tony D'Angelo, or Mance Warner with a Trick Williams, or, like I think those are the kind of guys I think could really, really do some interesting stuff. There's a lot that they can do with Mance. I'm excited for Mance Warner. I think it was a kind of underwhelming debut, and I'm not really quite sure which one of them is the digital media champion.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's STL or if it's Mance or what.
It's Steph DeLander it, but is it she's still injured? Is she now recovered from the injury that she had? Hold on. Sorry. Do you want to do it? I'll do it. Best thing Mance Warner did was his drinking segments with Microman in MLW.
Microman. Ladies love Mike.
Right, we're now going to go on to the next. We're going to the next match here, and it is for the NXT Tag Team Championships. And this match is now my tag team match of the year. Yes, we're only 24 days into it, but this is now the standard bearer, in my opinion, on tag team matches for myself going forward, because this was absolutely brilliant, absolutely exquisite. This highlighted, now, I love Axiom, but I love a kid, and I want a kid back because his face is a very beautiful face, and that face deserves to be on television.
It has to be covered, like Alberto Del Rio. I want to cover.
Alberto Del Rio needs to be covered far away. But Axiom, absolutely superb in this match. Nathan Fraser, the double super kick onto his face sold it like a champ. Everything about this, the funniest, there was a few funny bits that I highlighted for myself, was Ariana Grace on commentary. She was talking about her love for her mother. And she said, we love each other. We're family. And then Tom
But we
Hereford said,
sometimes don't get along well.
yeah. And then she said about her relationship with her father, and that's strange. And she went, yes, yes, it is. And that was the only comment about it. And that made me crack up more than anything.
Ariana also being friends with all the NXT people, with the exception of Wesley and his crew. So they're talking about Cora. She's like, "Oh, I love Cora. She's like one of my best friends. Oh, I love Axiom. I love Nathan. These guys are great. They're my friends." These guys come running in and they're like, "Nope, I don't like them. They're not with me."
She's brilliant. I love Ariana Grace.
I miss her on NXT. I miss her. I hope she gets healthy soon so we can take her back from TNA and put her back in the ring.
Right. Your thoughts on the match?
It was great. I mean, it's the Rascalz versus Naxium. It's fantastic. You know, I wish we would have had a finish. I really wanted to finish this. I wanted to see what they were going to do. Like, we had a finish, but it wasn't a clean finish. The idea of this was an idea where I was like, yeah, I could see this being a big deal, this being a part. The partnerships, even though this is now an official partnership, I always used to say in the early days of NXT, it doesn't become real till somebody wins the other's championship. This would make sense. This would have made sense and would have been fun to have as a big surprise moment, to have the Rascalz be the one to dethrone Naxium and to put the NXT titles on a TNA talent. That would put a big spotlight on this partnership, and it would have been a good first step with WWE being like, no, we trust you. Here are our tag team championships. That would have been a really big deal. And I really hope that that's what happens at some point, that we have a TNA talent win the first championship. Because if it goes the other way, it's going to be a bit, oh, okay, we expected this.
I can already tell you the talent that will win the NXT title. But we'll get into that in a minute because he's back, unfortunately for me. But yeah, no, hold on. What if the digital media title gets defended on NXT TV?
No.
Yeah.
No. NXT has standards. Steph DeLander does not meet those standards. But
no, they ran
her out of NXT already once.
Yeah, but again, like maybe who knows what's going to happen with that. But the greatest thing in NXT right now, Wesley turned up, distracted the referee. I hadn't watched NXT for a little while, and then I saw two big sons of bitches with Wesley recently on NXT when Trick Williams literally slapped the shit out of Wesley. For that to happen. And then I saw the two biggest men, literally square men I've ever seen in my life, next to him. And then they come out, attack the Rascalz, and then Axiom picks up the win. And then it's already been announced, but we'll get to it a little bit in more detail later on. But next week on NXT, it will be Wesley versus Ace Austin in what could potentially be an absolute banger of a match. What did you think of Wesley turning up?
It's fine. I like that they're continuing the storyline between Wesley and the Rascalz. That's fine. Because we still have to finish this whole Wesley versus Trey Miguel stuff, because we never really finished that. So it'd be nice to finish that. It's all right. It's good exposure for Wesley. It's good exposure for Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Ignungwe, whatever his last name is. I can never pronounce it properly. But Tyson and Tyreek are going to be the beneficiaries of this, if nothing else. Or as you call them, the big square men.
Yes, the big sons of bitches is literally the names I'm giving them now. Which then leads into Mike Santana coming out now to address the TNA audience, saying that his goal is now to be TNA World Championship. Calling it now, he will most probably win that title at Slammiversary, or that will be his match at Slammiversary. I think potentially him versus Joe Hendry could be happening there. With a big speech about now he's the standard bearer. He's the one who's going to put TNA on his back, and he's going to be winning the World Championship. And then
he's back. My favorite TNA superstar is back. Mustafa Ali is here. In Ali, we trust.
I was not happy about this, by the way.
Oh, I was so happy.
not
Ali
happy.
has signed a new contract with TNA. He is back, and he is pointed at that world championship. And I believe he is probably your next TNA world champion when Joe Hendry's contract runs out.
No.
Yes,
I want to show this
Lord,
video.
right. Ali back is awesome news.
It's not. I'm literally going to have nightmares about that man. I literally thought I was having a good time watching TNA, and then this son of a bitch turned back up again in the most annoying way possible. I've got this video here I want to show everyone from last night. I got permission from Brett to show this.
Did you get permission from him before this?
I got permission. I spoke to him about this, but this is Brett's reaction. If I can do this, what
Upload his video clip yet? Because I don't see it on my end.
I've got it here. I got a video clip here.
Okay, you're doing it this way.
Right. Yeah, I'm doing it this way. But this was Brett's reaction live inside of the arena last night.
Why'd you turn the audio off?
I didn't. It's literally playing, but I don't know why it's not playing for you.
I was going to say, I can't get the audio of it, but there was a good pop in.
I know it's not working. We'll do it another time, but yes, he wolf whistled multiple times for Mustafa Ali. Look, Mustafa Ali is absolutely incredible wrestler, fantastic in-ring competitor. I think he is excellent in any of the ring. He still hasn't had, and this is when I say I think we found out the new TNA star who is going to take an NXT title, and I think it will be Mustafa Ali winning the North American Championship. Because please, can anyone beat Tony D'Angelo, because he's doing my nutting as a North American champion. Boring as hell. He's boring as hell. But no, so that's I'm happy he's back. Yeah, that's what I tried to use and it didn't work. I think Ed's now going to try and do it a different way. Go to file, pick it from your computer. I did try and put it onto the media outlets, but it's not letting me do it because it's an MP4. And when I download, it's not letting me do that. But it's fine. We might get Ali versus, absolutely. We're definitely going to be getting that, because if you see Ali's face, he didn't address Santana once, didn't even look at him. And the only time he acknowledged Santana in the middle of that ring was when he was getting out of it, away from it as well. Plus Ali, absolutely. He is owed the North American title opportunity. Maybe they can dwindle that way into the storyline of maybe Ali winning that title and defending it on both TNA and NXT to get him back in there for it. So have you been able to do it, or shall we?
You have to go without it, unfortunately.
That's fine. We then get a promo from Tessa Blanchard. We have discussed on this show about her misdemeanors before, and we are now only going to be reacting about her stuff that she does as a neutral to a certain point. And we will be only talking about what she does in and around cutting a promo or inside the ring, as honest as we can, moving forward. We all discussed it in the Genesis pre-show, and that is it. Ed, I want to get your thoughts because I have some things I would like to say about this, but I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Promo here. Like, she's a garbage person, but you kind of bang her of a promo here. Crowd hates her, but I mean, again, it's hard to separate who she is from the reaction she's getting. because the reaction she's getting is because of the person she is. And like I said, I'm not going to go into it all, but I'm just going to say, like, the two are irrevocably linked. She's a great heel because of the garbage person she is, because nobody wants to cheer for her, which is great because it draws her immense heel heat. Talking about how her family basically ran San Antonio back in the day, in the territory days, is a great idea. Talking about her Hall of Fame dad, Tully Blanchard, and bringing up the Four Horsemen is a fantastic idea. Her sitting here trying to claim that she's the best thing in the world right now is hysterically funny. It just shows how delusional this woman is. It's all great. She could be a great heel. The problem is she's a great heel for reasons that they can't use on television.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought she delivered one of the best promos of the night. The way she delivered it, the way she spoke about it, you could take it one of two ways. You could say, is it because of the person that she is, or is it because of the great promo of putting the people of San Antonio down? That when she started to really go on about San Antonio, the boos started to get louder than what it was before that. So you can tell by the audio of the audience when there was also, I don't know whether you saw it on the video, but the three people in the front row that said, "I'm a Tessa Blanchard guy," would sat right next to Brett.
They
Brett
were indeed.
And Brett,
Did
you
not
will know,
look
right? And the funniest thing, right? I did this quite a lot. When I was watching the matches, I looked at where Brett was sat to see if I could get a reaction, to see what he was thinking. The man was stone cold throughout the whole show, apart from when Mustafa Ali turned up and Mike Santana walked out. This is the only time I saw Brett make anything for it.
No, he was chanting and clapping.
He was clapping. He was clapping. But that is something for next week.
He wasn't stone cold. But no, he had no reaction. He was just like,
yes, very much. I can't wait to have him back. Hopefully, potentially, he'll be back next week, where we will be discussing not unspoilers, because he's already said on X that he will be doing unspoilers on his page. So if you want to go and check that out, I think he was really.
I agree that the Knockouts division does need a star, but there are other stars that it could use that are marketable that aren't Tessa Blanchard. Remember, this is a company that still has Tasha Steelz in it. Let's not forget, Tasha Steelz is still in this company.
What did Tasha Steelz do?
Yeah, I know you forgot she's there.
No, what did she do?
She does the wrestling. She's really good.
Yeah, but why is it a bad thing that she's still employed? Oh, yeah, okay, I get what you mean.
No,
I thought you were saying she did a bad thing and they said
have others that can run this women's division without Tessa.
I clocked on. Yeah. It's very late for me. But I clocked on. I clocked on to what you were throwing down. Which then we now go into the main event of the evening, where it was, and I called him this, and I wrote this down as it, Zack Ryder versus Joe Hendry for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
Banger.
It was a good match.
Cardona has bangers. Like, say what you will about the Matt Cardona personality, and say what you will about the Deathmatch King and how big of a deal he makes himself. He doesn't need WWE. He doesn't. No, he's unlike what everybody else did, because Cody latched on to the Bullet Club. Cody was going to be a big deal regardless, but Cody didn't become the man on the indies until he latched into the Bullet Club, because of things that people like Kevin Owens and friends of his would tell him, that those are the kind of guys that, you ride with these guys. These guys will show you how to work the indies to the best of your ability. And he was right. And it happened. But there's been no bigger independent wrestling star, former WWE star, that doesn't need to sign with one of the big, like with the other big company, whatever it might be, than a Matt Cardona. Because Cardona's worked AEW, but they've all been short stints. They've all been handshake deals for we're working a program to this match and then you're done. Much to his dismay, a lot of the time, where he's like, I've been willing to listen and nobody bothers to call me. I love Cardona. I think Cardona's got all the charisma in the world. The always ready Matt Cardona, gimmick is in full effect. He knows what it is. He knows how to make the matches that he wrestles feel different than Zack Ryder, even using the same sig and finisher.
Mm-hmm.
But the Cardona character doesn't feel like a retread version of Zack Ryder, which a lot of people do on the independents. They do a revamped version of who they were. It's the reason why I think Ali does so well on the independents, is because he's doing something completely different from the character he worked in WWE. He's using the same name, but he's not doing the same things that he did. It's why I think Bishop Dreyer is going to have a hard time if that's the reason why he's using that name on the independent scene. Love Tom, but he's going to have a rough go of it if Bishop Dreyer is really what he's going to go for.
If you don't know, that's Baron Corbin.
It is Baron Corbin. And you heard his rationale for that one, right?
Yeah, I've
Bishop
seen it.
It's higher than Baron, and Dyer is like Dire Wolf, so it's like the lone wolf. So he's Bishop Dyer. And I'm like, okay, sure.
We'll see how long that lasts. Yeah. But then during the match, Kazarian has come out and he was ringside with his championships, with his cup, where he can cash that in at any time, any place, anywhere he wants. And he announced on the commentary as well that he has signed a new deal with TNA to keep him longer. There was a low blow by Matt Cardona onto Joe Hendry, which then John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL, who has a history of coming out in title matches and clothesline the hell out of Matt Cardona, which then got him into the ring. And then Matt Cardona hit Joe Hendry with the title. The referee counted. It was like 2.9 when Joe Hendry kicked out, hit a standing ovation, and Joe Hendry obviously was going to retain. It had been mind-boggling. But there's an instance here, and it happened before in another when I'm about to say Dolph Ziggler, when Nick Nemeth was TNA World Champion. When JBL comes out, they stare at each other. Nothing's said, nothing's done, and then JBL then walks away, and then the champion retains. I still don't understand, and it's just good storytelling from JBL. Why is he getting involved?
Is it good storytelling, or is it baffling storytelling that has been happening for 4 months and we still don't know what the fuck it means?
But then it's also, is he going to turn up? Is he not? It's one of those situations now where you don't know at what part he could turn up or what he's going to do. Is he now aligned with Joe Hendry? What is the thinking behind doing it? I'm interested to see, because he did say when he was on Raw that he's got a world tour of clotheslining people, a clothesline tour as well. So what I had the theory, which then didn't turn out. But what is your thinking? If you could predict right now JBL's reasoning for what he's doing, what do you think is going to happen?
I don't fucking know. I have no clue. There's no rhyme or reason to who he takes out. There's no rhyme or reason as to why. He took out Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, when he helped Alberto El Patron win the AAA World Championship. He took out opponents of Dolph Ziggler's or Nick Nemeth's when he was doing the thing in the beginning here, whether it be the system, whether it be Joe Hendry. Now it's Cardona here. It's been Kaz a couple times. There's no rhyme or reason to it, which means it doesn't make sense, which to me is bad storytelling. Because this far along, we should have some rhyme or reason as to what's going on. There should either be some kind of a pattern that we can develop that we can pull from, or there needs to be some sort of a conversation had to explain to us why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah. I'm very much at the point here right now where I think he wants the integrity of a championship be done properly inside of the ring, and he thinks he's the old school way of keeping things going, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. I also had the prediction as well that JBL was going to clothesline Joe Hendry and let Dolph Ziggler win because Dolph Ziggler's brother, who is doing my fucking head in with his mouth. It just when he
It's what Ryan
talks,
M is best for.
so annoying to try and help him, and he's paying JBL to do it. But we know from Monday Night Raw, you can't even do it with $2. With Kofi Kingston trying to help out there with that storytelling. Right, we're going to finish up here. Yeah. I think you're right on that one as well. I don't even think they know. But we've got some matches announced, and we're going to get your takes, and everyone's in chat. Nick Nemeth is going to be discussing his thoughts on what's going on, so that maybe that might start the storyline with JBL. Who knows? We've got Mustafa Ali. He's going to be in action for the first time since signing a deal back with TNA. Eric Young and Josh Alexander will be facing the Northern Armory, and then also announced as well, we will be having Wesley versus Ace Austin in a singles match. Now,
Wish.com Matt Taven.
Yeah, I don't want the Rascalz to get involved. I just want Wesley and Ace Austin just to do their thing. But
Yeah,
we
you're
know
not
the
gonna
right. No, I know. There's no way I'm getting that.
Well, you might, because I think the Rascalz might come and run off TNT as TNT try to cheat to help. By the way, poor Ace Austin. He's now stuck at this company without Chris Bay, and he's just stuck there.
Yeah, he had his match.
To beat Tony D'Angelo, I need Ace Austin to cross the line and come to NXT. Because I jokingly call him, Wish.com Matt Taven, just because it's fun. But I love Ace Austin. I think he's ultra talented. I think him in that North American title picture, because think about it, when you finally get that title off of Tony, and you have guys in that division that you can really go with, like Ace Austin versus Wesley is a North American title opportunity that I'd want to see.
Yeah. Very much so. A lot of banging matches. Brett is currently there, or will be there round about now. And he will be doing spoiler free. There's meet and greets as well, so he will be taking pictures. So make sure you go. I will put down below. Hold on 1 second. No, that's the wrong one.
Very excited about Tessa doing and top class AJ Francis doing a
squash. Steph DeLander, he wants her to do a squash on AJ Francis, which he found absolutely hilarious for himself, because he has a hatred, as he called him, the NWA of wrestling on the show earlier on as well. But down below is Brett's YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, X. All of those accounts are down below as well. So if you haven't already, please make sure you go over there and give them a follow. Also, my other co-host for this is Astrid Bizarro as well. Unfortunately, she is unwell, faking an illness, so she doesn't have to work today.
That's why she's not to work today. She's not faking an illness. Stop these lies, good sir.
And then now, Mr. Ed Fries, what have you got coming up this weekend, and where can we find you, and what you got coming up next week?
This weekend I have birthday shenanigans. I turned 41. I turned 41 in about 6 hours, so birthday shenanigans this weekend. So that'll be fun. I am going to. You will next see me on Tuesday night with Astrid as we on our road to Vengeance Day. We've got a big special guest that we haven't fully nailed down yet for the pre-show, but once we do, we're going to go ahead and make a big deal of this one because it's a biggie and it's a bit electric. So we're very excited for that one. Yes, we're bringing in we're bringing him in.
Oh,
yeah.
Before we get going and I do my shenanigans, Ed, this is specifically just for you. Happy birthday to you. Do not.
Oh no, Mark got muted.
How did I know you were going to do that, you bastard? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Ed. Happy birthday to you.
You can also find the Marvel Talk year-end preview show that me and Andre just did this Wednesday on the Our Local Establishment YouTube channel, where you can go ahead and we have an hour where we preview all of the things that we know are coming up this year for Marvel, which include 4 motion pictures and a handful of series, including things like Daredevil Born Again, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Ironheart, Wonder Man, Eyes of Wakanda, all kinds of great stuff coming up this year. We're very excited for a lot of it, so please make sure to check out Our Local Establishment at all the wonderful places that you've seen on the bottom throughout most of the show. You can find me on Twitter at edfries12584. I have a Blue Sky at the same place, but I don't know how to use it, so just go ahead and find us on Our Local Establishment. We can find all the good stuff. Remember, I was told by my other tag team partner, there is no Japanese wrestling update tonight, unfortunately. They weren't able to work out a recording time. So go ahead and watch SmackDown instead and enjoy SmackDown. And if you can find a great watch along from one of our wonderful friends, you should go do that as well.
Absolutely. And then I'll finish off with this. On Mark Talks Football, we are currently in the championship. Our promotion was secured a couple of episodes ago. So now we're trying to get South Shields to the Premier League as quickly as possible. And on Mark Talks Wrestling, we recently had a debut of a massive son of a bitch on WWE UK. And all I will say is if you go over now to Mark Talks Wrestling, a beast is back. And will be coming back for Wrestle World, where he will be going toe-to-toe with the TNA star. A one-match deal has been made with TNA, with myself and this beast. Let that linger for a minute. And he will be coming back for one match and one match only. So make sure what the booking is and where we're doing for that. But otherwise than that, I am all over TikTok, Instagram, anywhere else. All the links are down below in the description here as well. So make sure you go and check that out. But without further ado, I just want to say thank you ever so much, Ed, for a last-minute call-up. For coming to join me today. Thank you guys ever so much, everyone watching. Hope you enjoyed the TNA Live. We will be back next week, hopefully with Brett and with Astrid as well, to get the whole band back together and get Brett's thoughts on the recordings that happen. That I think these recordings then lead into Full Sail University, where the old stomping ground of NXT will be coming to fruition. We may be getting a TNA NXT invasion for that episode. Who knows? You will have to watch and find out to the build up for that. But with love, with care. My name's been Mark. That's been Ed Fries, and we will see you guys very, very soon. Peace.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let 'em burn it out. Sell 'em to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies.